Hey, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Now, one of the things that people don't usually understand when they think about coming out to live in the Philippines is that they're going to be a foreigner. It's not just me. I'm not the only foreigner in the Philippines. And it never, it's something that you never really get used to. Like, for instance, I go into Taliban and I go in pretty well every day. Now, I know very few people in Taliban, but I'm a foreigner. So everybody knows me. But they don't come up and say, "Hello, Terence, how are you?" But they know me. If I go and buy the kids, if I take Talik and Balalut in, and we have an ice cream, the person knows me. I'm the foreigner, and there aren't that many foreigners in Taliban, which I like that. I like that there aren't many foreigners. I'm being very selfish here, but I don't want it to change. And it's strange because most of the foreigners that I know just can't wait for it to change. And I wonder why. Because there are so many things that are just wonderful the way they are. Like when I go in, I park my truck in a place where I would be hung, drawn and quartered for parking it if I was in, say, LA. My lasting memory of parking in LA was I left my truck on a hill and I put the handbrake on, left it in gear and did all of them, parked it right next to the curb, and I forgot something. So I had to go back, and I thought maybe I didn't leave it quite far enough away from the line. So even though I turned my wheels into the curb, I thought I better go back and just move it back a little bit. And in moving it back a few feet, making it legal, guess what I did? Well, it wasn't what I did. It was I didn't turn my wheels into the curb. I got a huge fine for that. I got a fine. If I hadn't got back there in time, my truck would have been towed, and then I would have been in for heavy fees. So I don't have any of that in Taliban. I rarely see a cop. In fact, I was actually parked in a narrow lane where I had to wait for someone to take. Remember, if you watched our Christmas Day celebration, we hired an ice cream container, one of the old dispensers, the antique, and we hired it, and I had to drop it off, and I had to wait for someone to get it off the truck for me, and somebody pulled up next to me and is looking. Well, I couldn't actually see below about here, and he's looking at me, and he seems to be smiling, seems to be quite friendly, and gosh, I'm a friendly guy, so I smiled back at him. He's smiling at me, and I'm smiling at him. And finally, he just moved on. That's when I realised it was a cop. So I'd been smiling at a cop as if I had every right to be double parked, and he just gave up and just moved away. Now, if that had been in, say, LA, the guy probably would have pulled a gun on me. And I don't have that. So, do I hate going in and being involved in not being able to park where I usually park? Well, sure, I'd love to be able to park there every time and have it reserved for me. Do I really want that guy that keeps coming up and blowing his whistle and going like this? Come on, oh, I should be doing that. Come on, and stopping the other traffic so that I can get out. And then he wants to be paid. And I tried to explain to him, wait a minute, look, I can't pay you every time I pull in and out of this parking space. It doesn't make sense. And he speaks to my wife, and my wife tells me later. I said, well, what did he say? Well, he says, you're thrifty. Now, in the Philippines, if someone says you're thrifty, it means you're tight. Well, I said, did you explain to him that if I paid him 10 pesos every time I pull in and out of this space, I'd have to give him the card for my pension at the end of the month. So anyway, well, yes, I told him that, but of course she didn't. But anyway, so I don't want things to change. I'm really quite happy with the way that things are, and there are many things that, apart from the parking, there are many things that I just love about the place. And being a foreigner is not so bad. I mean, it's a bit strange when a father is there on a street that's not very busy at all. If I go around to the hardware store, I go to pick up at their warehouse, and when I come out, I'm looking at, and he's got his child, and he points to me, and then he says to the little boy, look, a foreigner. As if he's saying, look, a cabbage, look, a lamppost. No, he says, look, that's a foreigner. Well, I don't mind that. Some people are very friendly to me, and other people are just ordinary friendly to me. But I never have any hassle, because I don't expect to meet trouble when I go out. So I guess I don't. Maybe I sail along in such a state of optimism and perhaps often euphoria at being where I am, but I really don't want things to change. Now, we just got back today from Tagbilaran, and Tagbilaran is pretty well serviced community for expats. It has pretty well everything that you could. Expats probably won't tell you this because they'll be too busy complaining about something that's not quite good enough for them, or isn't how it is in America or Australia or Britain or Germany or any of those wonderful places that they fled from. But it is a very, very well serviced town, a city. And it has all of the things that go with that. Incredible bad traffic. Everywhere you go, the traffic is seeming to me to be piling up. And there's foreigners everywhere. And they've got overtly sexy looking women with them, which you look at them and go, gosh, wow, how did that overweight blob get that lovely woman? And I guess all of you people out there will have your own answers for that. As I've explained in one of my other videos, I never ever thought it was a great idea to go for an overtly sexy woman. I go for someone who is reserved in their dress and beautiful to my eyes. And that's what I go for. And that's what I got. And now my reserved wife is actually coming in the door. So, honey,
Yeah.
you are coming in the door, and I'm going to show you. And there she is, look.
Yeah.
You
Good
see?
evening.
Now, beautiful to my eyes. So, I don't really want things to change, and I keep saying that, but I want you to really take that on board. So we spent the day in Tagbilaran, a great multitude of places at the is it the ICD mall?
ICM.
ICS?
ICM. ICM.
ICM mall, which is a good mall with great stores. Don't know how anybody can afford to shop there, but a ton of different restaurants. Oh, just so many great restaurants that you can go to, from fast food to coffee bars to everything. And so you can get almost anything that you want. And we had a great meal, and then we also sat and waited, and then we ate with our friend Philip and Annabeth. So why have I mentioned this? Well, it's about foreigners. I sat there at Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm sitting waiting for Beth to come back. She wants to buy something, and I can hear there are two expats behind me. One is from the UK, I can hear it. Forgotten where the other guy is, maybe American. And they never stopped bitching. Nothing was good enough for them, absolutely nothing. And they don't sound like happy men to me. Now, if you're going to come out and be a foreigner, then you are a damn foreigner. And my question is this: why do these people come out to a country that they apparently don't think very much of? That's my question. Now, for me, I have a cell phone, I have a computer, I have limited access at the moment at home to the internet, but I can, with a short drive, I can go into an internet cafe and I can maintain a channel which is exactly what Beth and I do. We maintain a channel, and through that channel we're able to help a lot of people who perhaps might not have been given that help if we were not doing what we do. So I'm okay with the way that things are. In fact, because there are so many things that are simple here, non-regulation, nobody really gives a damn whether you've handed your piece of paper in for the license, which I've been holding for about 6 months now, because they didn't do my plastic license. They gave me a piece of paper that says, hey, if you get stopped, just show this piece of paper. And I put that in my wallet. And I probably have to look high and low in my wallet to find it right now. But nobody seems to be bothered. Nobody stops me, nobody. And I like that, you know. In fact, I realized when I was walking the other day, I realized, looking around at this incredible scenery, lots of people that I just think are beautiful, and I'm in the best years of my life. I'm actually in the good old days, but with a few modern conveniences. How many times do you say to yourself, I wish I'd been born 50 years ago when they had drive-in cinemas, where drive-in theatres. You could go and just hook a box onto the what looked like a parking meter, and you could watch a movie. You could have tailgate parties. You could, you know, there was no, the restrictions were just not there. Cops were on the beat and they made judgment calls. You know, they would say, hey, if you don't behave yourself, I'm going to call your mother. And if they did, your mother would be more, she would abuse you more than the cop would have. And that's how it was then. And I'm living in that place now. If I go to a gas station, I don't pump my own gas, petrol for you people from the UK. If I want some help pumping my tyres up, the guy will be more than happy to help me. If I go to Alturas, the mall, and I have a parcel, if I want to have a box, they don't just give you a box and dump the stuff in. They have a young man who's obviously been trained to pack a box perfectly, and he packs the box perfectly, and then he binds it up and he ties it up, and he ties it up in a way that you can actually carry it from the car to your house, and he does it happily. And then when that's done and you paid your bill, he carries it to your car. And he doesn't want a tip. Of course, everybody, well, we give them a tip, right? But we're not supposed to. But of course we do. And I'm happy with that. I'm living in the good old days. And that's what being a foreigner also includes. But of course, you got to forget about a lot of the conveniences, especially if you live in Taliban. When I go into Taliban, Beth and I go in, there's one, if the internet cafe is closed, there is one restaurant that has free Wi-Fi. And it's expensive for us. It's about between 500 and 600 pesos for a meal for both of us with drinks, and we stay for the internet, and they're quite happy to have us sit there for 2 hours over a meal that costs 600 pesos. Work it out, $2 to 100. So $6 each buys us an air-conditioned place to sit, a nicely cooked meal with drinks. I mean, talking about Coca-Cola, okay? Not talking about Scotch on the rocks, right? So we enjoy those things, and the internet, and a pleasant place, and we sit there for 2 hours, and our expensive meal is, what is it? What was it? $12? I'm happy with the way that things are, and there's only one other restaurant that I know of that we like to go, and that's what was that restaurant there? What is it, Beth? Yeah, she's not there. She's upstairs. So there's that one, and there's Chairlands, and with Chairlands you get a nice atmosphere, and you get a nice view of the ocean because it's right on the water. So, and a meal is just as expensive there, $12 for 2 of us and a load of food. So I'm a foreigner in the Philippines, and I'm enjoying living in the good old days. That's how it seems to me. And to the next father that points to me and says to his kid, look, a foreigner, I'm just going to go, that's how you do it here. So this is a foreigner living in the Philippines, happily in the good old days.